Hey guys, what's going on? Blaine back for another Netflix review, and today I'm going to be talking about Extraction 2. Extraction 2 is an American action flick that serves as a direct sequel to the previous Extraction movie, and tells the story of Tyler Rake, a mercenary who's rescued from the brink of death and left to a life of retirement not long after. As he ponders what to do next with his life, he's offered the opportunity for another mission. His new mission involves another extraction, this time with his ex-sister-in-law, who's being held hostage with her kids in a prison complex in the country of Georgia. With his objectives in mind, Tyler gathers his former crew and sets out to extract the family while on the run from the terrorists who imprisoned said family. I wasn't the biggest fan of the first movie, so I was pessimistic about a sequel, but I'm glad this one turned out well. Despite some flaws still carrying over from the first one, it's one of the most fun movies of the year so far, and is a big step up from the first one in terms of quality. Chris Hemsworth does a great job once again as the main character, Tyler Rake. He still has the same intimidating presence and dry sense of humor as he did in the first movie, which is always fun to see. So for those who may worry his character might have gone through some sort of unwarranted change, thankfully this isn't the case. This does still leave his character a little shallow, but Hemsworth is always great in performing the right emotional cues for whatever scene he's in, and he isn't completely lacking in depth either. It carries over and adds just enough backstory to the first one regarding his family background throughout the series, without bogging the story down in exposition. Aside from Tyler Rake, the movie also features many supporting characters, some of whom return from the first movie. This is something that I felt was an improvement over the first two, as they all feel more involved with what happens in the story this time around, and just feel more notable in terms of personality. It was great to see Nick and Yaz teaming up so much, to see more of Tyler's family connections, and most of the new characters were interesting. I especially enjoyed seeing Idris Elba in his role as this sort of mysterious middleman for Tyler's mission. He's not in the movie very much, but he helps add depth to the movie's world where he can. There were a few characters I found myself more mixed with. I still found the villains in this movie to be as generic as the first. It's nice that they put a bit more effort into explaining the Nagazi group and the influence they have over everything, but at the end of the day, they're still ordinary terrorists that seek to control what they can and destroy what they can't. I also wasn't a fan of Sandro, one of the kids who Tyler rescues from Georgia. He doesn't do anything other than cause problems for Tyler and his mission, and whines and moans whenever he isn't. I get that he's meant to show the cult-like power his terrorist family has on him, but it doesn't change the fact that he's an annoying source of artificial conflict. The movie isn't exactly the most original action flick in existence. It follows the same sort of plot structure as most other movies in its genre, and because everything from Tyler's recovery to the Nagazi threat is brushed over without much explanation, it leaves the plot as a whole feeling even more thin. Other times, the movie does have exposition, usually brief moments of backstory involving either Tyler or the villain Zurab, but they go on for longer than necessary. I appreciated its occasional attempts to be more than just a slam-bang action flick, but the inconsistent pacing still felt weird to me. To be honest though, I think being a straight-up action flick is what this movie does best. It is easily the most fun and adrenaline-fueled movie I've seen on Netflix to date, and it's just a blast to see so much quality action take place in so many different ways. The vast majority of the action scenes are bombastic, violent, but not to the point of being over the top, and there's so much variety to them. The movie has gunfights, fistfights, and chases, both on foot and in vehicles, and the stunt choreography for all of them is fantastic. Of special note is the extraction scene where Tyler and his crew infiltrate the Georgian prison to rescue his former sister-in-law and her family. If you thought the 12-minute long-take scene from the first movie was impressive, then wait until you see the sequels, because this scene is 21 minutes long. I mean, damn! And what makes it even more amazing is just how excellently paced and choreographed it is. There's not a single shot that goes to waste, as the camera shows everything the audience needs to see in the moment, and when a transition does occur, it's done as seamlessly as possible to avoid interrupting the action, thus becoming a more immersive experience. Even outside of the extraction scene, the rest of the cinematography is a marvel to behold. The movie features a mix of steadicam shots, dolly shots, drone shots, wide shots, and it just goes on, and they all blend together so well, I swear it all felt like they were the same shot. The movie is almost always on point with how it shows the action, but there are a few hiccups here and there. There's times when the camera is too shaky, the lighting is too dark, or the action is obscured by close-ups and thus hard to make out, but fortunately this doesn't happen often enough to make a big deal out of it. Compared to the formulaic plot structure, the action felt very refreshing with how it was executed. A lot of that's because the movie uses practical effects for its action as much as possible, and the effort shows in the final cut. Every punch characters throw and every bullet they fire feels like they all have a sense of gravitas to them, which raises the intensity of the action. On top of this, the spectacle of the action itself is just amazing. One of my favorite action scenes involves Tyler running around an airfield where the Nagazi are located, and he blows up just about everything he sees with a grenade launcher. The chaos that ensued was so freaking awesome, I could not stop giggling during that whole scene. The chase scenes were also a blast to see, especially whenever they involved vehicles. This is where the movie started to lean more into computer-generated effects, which didn't always look the best, but thankfully they're kept to a minimum, and it's still cool to see vehicles fly and crash all over the place as Tyler slams and guns them all down. This is one of those types of movies where you can't take it too seriously. Tyler endures a lot of punishment no other man could possibly take, while simultaneously taking down legions of enemies on his own or with a few others. In that regard, this movie could be seen as a cliched waste of time, but in my opinion, the first movie fit more into that bill, and even then, it still turned out okay in general. This movie does exactly what a sequel should do. It stays true to the original formula while also raising the stakes and enhancing it with new ideas and concepts to give it more of an identity. It still has its issues and it's not exactly deep, but it's entertaining as hell, so I'll gladly take it. Overall, Extraction 2 is a fun action flick that's a worthy continuation of an unexpected franchise. If you like action movies and were a fan of the first Extraction movie, you will definitely enjoy watching this superior follow-up. This is a movie that knows exactly what it wants to be, a fun romp with action in the center of attention and the story in the background. While it's not perfect in its approach with this, I can't deny that I enjoyed the hell out of this movie, and with a third one being recently confirmed, I can only imagine how much better it will be. What did you think about this movie? Did you think it was a worthy sequel to the original, or did you prefer the first one? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up my review of Extraction 2. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you enjoyed it, and as always stay tuned for the next part, where next time I review the Japanese drama, The Village. Bye bye!